Alright, so let's take this here paragraph and start putting some of this into place permanently. I'm going to place this feature page on with but a single press against the back. And the reason is because, number one, it's cool to open up and just see on the back side that says Elizabeth Arden dies. And there's an article of Elizabeth Arden. Are you familiar with my other piece, the one on the obituaries? This article ties to that piece. This is the most famous obituary I could have put on that piece. But if I had, it would have taken away from this whole theme that I found on this side. And I had to ask myself, what's more important? Maybe teaching somebody this lesson, or solidifying another art piece. Now, what I'm doing is I'm connecting my art pieces together. See, if you bought this piece, and you knew about the secret hidden obituary in the back of a famous person, and you knew that it was the key to the next piece, you understand what you have there? You now have two pieces that talk to each other and make that much larger a prism. They create that much more influence. And as they interact with you in the 7 arenas, in a dual truth perfectly aligned, you have a bridge that brings them together, and it becomes a larger mind map, if you will, a greater paradigm on which to interact. You know, it's kind of interesting how if you connect those two together, and the other one, should you not be aware, is has a sickle and a guitar, old beat up guitar neck on it with different obituaries. And I find it interesting how one person's life could be boiled down to just this little newspaper clipping, and for many that's all they get, if that. Here a superstar boils down to the backside of a faded piece of paper. It kind of makes this whole idea of loving and liking your family and your loved ones worth working on and important, because it speaks louder this side than it does this side. So I'm going to leave that so you can look at that and see the two connections. But then I'll also leave it so that you may look at the bottom portion of this feature page and this article, and that you may find, like or dislike what you see, you will recognize it as being part of history, part of American history, part of American culture. But no one else will know except you, because you bought it and I'm not telling. Alright. It's time to put this chain down. I'm scared. I don't know exactly how I'm going to do that. I think I will allow fear to rule. I'll put down... You say, how do you know how to be so confident in what goes where and when? I don't know. Maybe you look at me and go, dude, you're gluing stuff. Each piece has been pondered. This thing has been sitting with nothing but its self-expression for about 4 weeks. I've studied it. I've sat with it. I've talked to it. I've gotten my use out of it. That's for sure. But I know each piece goes there because I know what it's saying when it's there to me. And all I'm here to do is facilitate the arrangement and the purposeful placement of this idea in order to lift out of the ether a lesson that'll bring success to somebody. Literally, this one lesson could change and revolutionize. Put this up in a public place and maybe everybody that sees it and hears the story recognizes it in their own lives and they make a little change. Little bit of trajectory change, make a big difference in a couple generations. That's all we're doing. Is that what your art does? It's what it should do. So we pin that one down because we know it goes there. And this one, man, I could fall from an airplane and drop that one in. You'd be amazed how much of this interior glue I'm putting on these. Because I know where I want her eyes facing. And she gets turned a little bit, but for a purpose, not just for artistic reasons. However, it does look like this here picture is shadowing, and there's a shadow in that picture. Alright, bam! She's looking right at him, and he's in place. Booyah! This one here intrigues me. It intrigues me because there he is fishing. Sorry, can't be fishing. He caught a deer. No, that might not even be a deer. It might be a... Oh, you might have to tell me what it is. But he was a vigorous man. She married a vigorous man. He's pushing the lawnmower. He's hunting the deer. He has a family. No doubt he did what he could to keep the home warm and happy. Wonder if she appreciated it. No doubt she kept her part too. This tea party doesn't look like it's in a shack. They got a nice place. They got good work ethic. Maybe they forgot to make each other laugh. I don't know. How hard is it really to turn off somebody that loves you? I guess if we knew the truth, that might drive us in crazy sane as well, eh? I don't know where A comes from either. I'm 50 miles from Canada, but I'm not Canadian. Is that Canadian? I don't know. I apologize if I offended anybody. Alright. This here family picture is blurry. Bam! Because I forgot to do that before. And I don't know where focus is, and I apologize. And it goes there. Oh, and it's so perfect. Man. Gotta press it down so it stays, but man, when it's perfect, it's perfect. When it's perfect, it's perfect. One of the things that gets tough is when you take a piece of metal and you put it over top of a picture or a piece of paper, because you can't glue to the paper. It's pointless. And the paper's glued to the board, and eventually the weight of the metal is going to defeat that joint anyhow. So what you have to do is make an incredibly strong, reinforced joint somewhere where there's just metal, and that'll hold onto the paper. But first we got to get the paper down. So we're going to do it like this. We're going to put one on this side, pookie, and then one on the other side, and then that nail can just press down on forever and ever. Alright? It's kind of cool. There's a porch post going right down in this picture, right where my house post is. I like that. Logic would tell me to take a hammer and nail this in just enough But I don't think it's going to work that way. So I'm not going to do it. What a challenge that'll be, because this one right here, oh, you see when you get inspired to do it, when it makes sense, jump on it. Just jump on it. Just because you've got the most courage right there. Right then and there, you have the most courage you're going to have. When you see it, when it's the most clear. Jump on that frequency of courage and just do it. Did you see that? Wow. That's the kind of thing that you can overthink. And you know what? Once this stuff dries, I have lots of options on how I can cover it up. You see lots of buttons and things like that on my stuff. Well, it's kind of like, I can look at this chair and see where they covered up the screw holes. Do I look at the chair and go, oh, that's ugly art, that's an ugly piece of furniture because I can see where they covered up the screw holes? No. If I can see the screw holes, I'd say, oh, it's an ugly piece of art because I can see the screw holes. Couldn't they have covered them up? And that's what I do with the buttons and stuff, and you should too. I mean, not that you're doing assemblage art. You're probably like a real artist. And if so, bow down, because I envy you. But that's okay. I have fun. And really, it's not entirely. It is about craftsmanship. Oh man, I beat myself up over craftsmanship. And if you look at something and say there's not much craftsmanship in there, I'm telling you, it's the extent of my talent and not the extent of my desire for perfection. I have learned how to not be a perfectionist to a detrimental level. You don't want to over perfectionize. So yeah, there is that, but at the same time, this is the best I can do. Seriously. Absolute best. In fact, I'm surprising myself on some of these. Hey, don't be afraid to express yourself. If you've got art in you, let it rip. I guarantee you there's family that are seeing this show, maybe on YouTube, and they're going, who's this guy? Yeah, who is this guy? I don't know. Oracle of the 7 arenas. Alright, that's my story. Any of you like marketing? If you like marketing, then you'll like the idea. I got up to get a rag, and I have no rag in my hand. If you like marketing, I'm trying to decide if I want to put this picture down first or put the nails down. And I guess what I'll do is move the nail, put the picture down, and make the nails next. Because I want the picture under the nails. They're supposed to be inside the house, right? Right. You could do both. Put them inside and outside. Hey. It'd be like under one nail and over the other one. Yeah, it'd still work. It's just representing, they live in and out. Could maybe even connect it a little bit. Let's play with that. Alright, I'm just going to set it there for now. I don't know why, but the weight of the whole picture works with that pointing off downward, because it's again representing a downward line from this dark crow downward. I think this would be a terrible way to live, a terrible way to interact with a parent, a child, a close relative, even a pet. Get where you love your dog, but you're just fed up with the fact that your dog always barks. That's why I don't have a dog. I'm not going to have this relationship. No way. No way. Not unless I create it in someone else. And for that, I'm sorry. Alright. Let's take this. We're going to push this first nail all the way down, because then we're going to, I've learned this from watching construction guys, we're going to set this beam. Oh, actually, I'm going to do it this way. I'm going to push this up. We're going to fill this in with glue so that it's like part of the nail. We'll push this up to here so we can run a bead all the way across there. And if I can then, yeah, it would be best if I could hammer that in. I'm going to go get a hammer.